Just when you thought Sportswire Radio might have took a night off, not so fast, my friend. We've got somebody who's got a heart of a warrior. And maybe I need some of that heart of a warrior after what's kind of happened to me in this rather bizarre summer. I mean, even today, once again, another bizarre instance. I mean, maybe at this point, I should just never go outside and spend 24 hours a day on Sportswire Radio. Who knows? Maybe we're getting to that point. After all, I am close to 1,000 subscribers, but we'll see. Maybe I'll keep going outside. Maybe I'll live to tell about it. But that's taking a slight detour because we have got future Atlanta pro wrestling coverage ahead. And boy, do we love future Atlanta pro wrestling because, of course, obviously that comes from our very good friend, Mr. Jermaine Hardwick, who our guest is going to talk a lot about. And also our general manager, who's a very good friend to this platform and a living legend in his own right. And of course, when we think about the Global Backyard Wrestling Network, GWC Intensity, and also maybe the most well-dressed man on Sportswire Radio, him and Judas certainly have a back-and-forth contest in who's the most well-dressed. But our guest, arguably tonight, is the man that has the most heart. He never gives up. He's now the ultimate storm. And is he in the eye of the storm or what, ladies and gentlemen? Coming up here 2 weeks from tomorrow, because he is in action for not one, but two matches. And they're involving two championships, and it could really change his destiny and maybe his fate or maybe some of his heartbeats here coming up here real soon. We're going to talk about that. Plus, who knows, whatever else. We'll also put the poster up, and maybe I'll even talk about something that'll give him some real raw energy here and some. Ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't planned to have our guest tonight, but Sportswire Radio, we never sleep, we never stop, even though they might want to hurl things randomly in the street at me, and they might want to try to give me fist bumps and, might want to try to mess with my minds. They'll never stop this platform because even when I'm long dead and buried, we will still be talking about everything in the world where all wrestling matters in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where it all matters, and our guest needs that introduction. I'm ready to give it to him, especially after my 25 minutes or so earlier this afternoon here in New York. I want to get to it. He's laughing, and I want to get to him and his thoughts, because if I don't, he'll keep laughing forever, and he won't be able to have the matches of his life coming up here 2 weeks from tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick the weekend off here in style and get you ready for some future Atlanta pro wrestling mania style to cap off the summer. So, with without further ado, here on the Sports Wire. Number one, Cable Sports Show. A man that was born in the longest episodic show in backyard in underground wrestling history. A man that is, simply put, a heart of a warrior, the ultimate storm from future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, Vega Storm. My friend, how are you?
I'm great, Tom. How are you?
I'm great now that I'm live on Sportswire Radio. I mean, earlier today, who knows? But people can read about that on Facebook. You can check it out. Obviously, I've mentioned it a couple times on these streams. Hopefully, it's over with. The summer will end, but the summer isn't going to end, Vega Storm, until we have Summer Mania, because originally we had a declaration of war, but declaration of war was so big, it was so strong, we had to look in that eye of the storm and then prepare for a Summer Mania, because everybody wants to see the return of future Atlanta Pro Wrestling and Vega Storm. For those that are listening and watching here in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters. Vega Storm, tell us how you're feeling now going into the road to SummerMania 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Well, now you say it like that. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
I know there was a lot that we were talking about to where it goes. And, you were in an interesting spot because you're in 2 matches. So you kind of have maybe an impact. I mean, Andre spoke about it. I'm sure Andre's impacted in some of the other participants, but you got a 2-week almost layoff now into what was supposed to be. So, I mean, it is an interesting question. How are you feeling going into this?
More motivated than I was the first time.
Why?
This is not my first time working multiple matches. I've worked multiple matches before. But this is the very first time that I've worked something like this, a Sinister Six match where the only way to possibly win is to eliminate 5 other competitors, but not by pinfall, by submission.
Yep, we talked about that last time. It's got to be submission or tap out, basically. A tap out or submit. Or you pass out, basically. Same thing.
Yes, exactly. Oh, no. You can't.
If they pass out, they tap out.
The only way to win is you have to tap out. And even, let's just say I make Jermaine Hardwick tap out. Let's just say.
Well, if he's dead, I mean, if he passes out and is dead, that's why technically, if you pass out, you can't continue.
Exactly.
Matches. Oh, that's why I did say that technically the pass out qualifies. That's how it works in wrestling. But
exactly. If I make Jermaine tap out, the match is not over. I have 4 other people I have to worry about.
Obviously, you have to keep going till there's a sole survivor or a Sinister Six, the only sinister person to have went through that. So, it is interesting. It's fascinating because it's a 2-week layoff. You say it makes you feel more motivated, correct?
Yes.
Could you say, though, conversely, because you wanted it this way, I mean, okay, it makes you more motivated, but you were so focused on tomorrow, but now you've got 2 more weeks. Are you thinking about this more, or are you just training more? So how are you going into that now with the 2-week delay?
So when people think about training, they mainly think physically training.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't think of mentally training, mentally preparing your mind for what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
There is an opportunity for me to become the new FAPW champion.
Correct.
But there's also a possibility that I might lose. And
well, I mean, there's 6 other people in this, and obviously you have to figure out where you draw in this. You have to figure out, who and what to start with. I mean, there's some, really big names in this field. Some of them you have history with. Some of them are known in the world, and that's an unknown. That's an unknown where you're going with that. It's an unknown where you're starting with that. So, I mean, it's a total unknown, really, at this point.
Yeah, and at one point I sat down, I pulled out the laptop, and I started just, I guess, going over, old history, old videos of, somebody like Jermaine Hardwick or Frank Hopkins or even Jordan Chris, and I looked at some of their videos, but a friend of mine told me that won't really help you because and I asked him the same question, why won't it help me? If I'm studying what they're doing now, how won't that help me in the upcoming event? It's like, well, think about it. Do you think, let's just say, LeBron James, do you think people allow him, or you think he allows people to just continue to watch what he does and not think about progression?
Probably not, because even though there's so much footage of him out there, there's 20 plus years of it. The reason he's successful is because he's evolved in terms of either how he prepares, how he trains, how he eats, how he sleeps. I mean, listen, there's guys like LeBron James and Tom Brady in football up until recently, they lasted as long as they did. It wasn't because they were just God-given talents. Yes, that's a part of it, but they were able to adjust and continue to play as extremely successful as long as they did, and as LeBron's case, as long as he has, more or less.
just like you said, adjust and evolve.
Yep.
Me going back to watch their old stuff won't really help me in this upcoming event, because let's just say I go back and I see Jermaine's finisher is maybe a sharpshooter, or
Right.
Jordan Chris's finisher might be an ankle lock, and I'm over here thinking, okay, well, that's my mindset. Okay, I'm gonna focus on this. If they go for my legs, then I'll know when to get ready to reverse or something like that. But how do I know that move is still in effect? How do
Because
I
there's been a long layoff, and also they may be preparing for the match in a different way.
exactly? So mentally, I have to prepare myself. Okay, like I said, there is an opportunity for me here. My mindset is I'm going to win. I know I'm going to
You're
win.
the heart of a warrior. You're Vega Storm. I mean, yes, we know that, and you wanted this in a way, but I mean, with the 2 week layoff or delays, whatever you want to call it, it's a weird quirk. I mean, occasionally in sports, you'll see things like in baseball, you have a rain out, somebody plays the postseason or a tiebreaker the next day. I've seen quirks like that before. I mean, we've seen things in, other sports randomly. There could be an issue with the venue. I remember I was covering hockey years ago, and there was a venue change, and then there was a delay, and when a playoff game would start. And so, I mean, it's kind of along the same lines. So let me ask you this question. I'm going to put the poster up in a second. I'm going to put the FAPW YouTube channel in a second. I know you can't get in the minds of guys like Jordan Chris, Franchise Piece, and Jermaine Hardwick, but how do you think they're preparing? What do you think is going on through their minds when it comes to that 2 week, whatever you want to call it? Maybe hiatus is the best term.
I think in my mind, I think they're preparing the same way that I'm preparing. But you are right. People do prepare in their own ways. But I also think that they're preparing the same way that I'm preparing. Mentally, you have to get your mind focused for something like this. And you have to physically prepare your body to withstand that pressure, the beat down, all that stuff. Because right after would be the rumble. So it's
I was
like,
going to talk to you about that next. What you thought in terms of just where you'd be placed, and go on for that. Then I'll come back to that.
yeah, I don't know. I can't I can't look into their minds. I can't read their minds. I can't, tell you exactly what I think they're thinking right now. But I do know they're stepping in the ring with past champions, with past people who have been through things like this before.
And you've won gold before. You've had success. We've talked about your history, GWC intensity, no question.
Yep. But
You've been there.
I've never stepped in the ring in a situation like this. I've never stepped in the ring.
But most people have not. You're thinking about it. You're in a match, right, where the eventual sole survivor of it had to have either made all, or when the time that he was in allotted into the Sinister Six match, have made all of his opponents or the opponents he's been there with to have tapped out, or obviously submitted. So there's no question that this is a rather, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I could say this. I don't think Jermaine Hardwick, Franchise Piece, or Jordan Chris have been in an exact match like this. I mean, how many people can say that they've been in an exact match like this? Think about that. And this platform, right? You watch these shows. You know the deal. You've been around the game for a while. You're a student. You told us that. I know you are. You and I speak from time to time. I know you probably like to speak to me more. I know you want to kill me sometimes. People on the street literally want to kill me these days anyway. So join the club. But the point is that, I don't know if anybody that's ever come on this platform has been into something like this to this degree.
Right. Including Brandon. I don't even, I know I know all of us have probably been like in an I Quit match. I know for sure I've been in one.
Yeah, but not with 6 participants in it
No.
where they have to submit or tap out in order to win.
Exactly.
How many people in this platform? I see D'Angelo the Flames here. I see Ace Reeds here. I know people will watch this in the replay. You always draw a big crowd. But I don't think it's fair for me to say that I don't think anybody has been in a match like this
And
with a tap out.
that's the mind of hardcore. That's the
Yes.
mind of hardcore. For you to sit back and have this idea come in your head and throw it out there and be confident with it, that man has confidence. to a certain degree where he's been doing this for years.
Oh, we know the history with him. Yes, there's no question that history is there.
Mm-hmm.
But you're the one that's competing. He's not. You have
Right.
5 other people that are in a Sinister Six match where the winner of it, basically, the sole survivor is the one that didn't submit or tap out, or if they died, basically be passing out, which technically would sort of count as well, as I said, either way. But no, who's been in this before? I don't know. I couldn't think of anybody here. I'm talking to wrestlers every single day. I don't. I mean, I just had on Levi McDaniel yesterday, who wrestled Cowboy James Storm. He lived in Japan for 2 years. I don't know if he's been in that. I mean, maybe. I'm sure he'd correct me, but
Right.
I don't think he's been in something like this. I don't know who in my platform has been in something like this. This is the most like interesting match I've ever covered, really. That's saying a lot, because I've covered stuff for 5 years almost. That goes back in the UK, goes back here, goes back in the underground scene. And I mean, I've done a lot, I think. And I don't know if I've seen something like this before, objectively speaking.
Exactly. And you add on to the suspense of taking away the option to crawl to the bottom rope to break the submission. That, I mean,
That's
you
another.
think it to yourself now, like, oh man, I'm in a sharpshooter. How am I going to break free? I can't crawl to the rope now because that won't matter. So it's like, how am I going to break out of this move?
And you are used to, as a competitor, knowing you've got the bottom rope, but now you don't have it. So what do you do then? How do you prepare for that?
At this point, the referee's job is to only ask, do you give up? Do you submit? That's the only job the ref has. That's the only job. So at this point, the way you mentally prepare for this is, I would say some people go to the gym to mentally prepare themselves and all that stuff. I have to mentally prepare myself, as in, I've been through tougher challenges before. I remember I've been in a gauntlet style match before with a messed up arm, and I still came out on top because I had to mentally prepare myself before I stepped in that ring. And yeah, I was in a lot of pain, but through and through, I still stuck up to it, and I kept going.
Well, how are you now? Well, okay, let's go with that. How are you percent-wise? How is your body? I know you haven't been out there in a few months. How is your body right now? How do you feel physically?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm drained, but
that's how I feel today. That's how I feel for other reasons.
I can compare Vega Storm to my reality self, because Vega Storm is just a character, of course, but I can compare Vega Storm to my long life reality. I've been down, I've been out, I have bled. I'm going through a lot of stuff right now that, of course, it takes my mind off of wrestling, because, you getting back to reality, then it's like you come back to wrestling and it's like, I have to prepare. I have to prepare. But I guess that gives me more motivation, because now the time that I do have left, that is time put to training more, preparing myself more, putting myself in a tough situation where, if I know that I'm going to submit, if I feel like I'm going to end up tapping out, which Vega Storm never does. Vega Storm never taps out. Vega Storm never quits. So if I'm put in that situation where I'm put in a submission move by somebody, knowing that I can't reach out and grab the rope, how will I break out of that submission move and keep fighting?
How do you prepare for that? I mean, what do? You can't, like you said, you don't watch the normal tape. So what do you implement without giving it away fully, obviously?
I'm going to be honest with you, Tom. I don't think there is a way for you to mentally prepare for something like that. I'm going to just be completely honest with you. The fact that you're going up against 5 other people, this isn't, let me hit him with my finisher real quick and hit the cover, 1, 2, 3, you're out of here. No, this is submission. The only way to win, or the only way to eliminate your opponent, is by submission, with the option of reaching out and grabbing a bottom rope, or any rope for that matter, is out the table. There is no way to mentally prepare yourself. Yeah, I can go to the gym all day and work out and lift weights and do this and do that.
But we know lifting weights and working out's not going to help in a match. It's not wrestling related. I mean, could you maybe get more reps somewhere? Would that help potentially? I mean, that's the one thing I could think of. I mean,
even the strongest people still get hurt. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
I agree with that.
Muscle doesn't mean anything. Yeah, you're a lot stronger than you were before.
Listen, Bill Goldberg, who's an Atlanta guy, I mean, he was in fantastic shape, was always, getting injured. I mean, I guess the only other thing is maybe could you train somewhere and go to a ring or a mat somewhere and maybe get some grappling? I mean, that's the one other thing I could think of potentially without giving it away, obviously.
One way that I am starting to train a little bit more, I have a friend, he's into yoga and things like that.
Okay.
His wife, she owns like a studio in Atlanta. And so what I would do is I would go to the studio, and instead of doing a lot of yoga poses, we would sit down, clear your mind, empty your brain, focus on breathing. If you feel pain somewhere, focus on breathing, calm down. Pain is only temporary. Focus your breathing, calm down, and come up with a plan. Because panicking will only make things worse. So let's just say, for instance, I'm in an ankle lock. I start panicking. I start reaching and crawling and going everywhere. And my opponent sees that. The first thing they're going to think of, let me trap him. Let me stop his mobility. They're going to wrap their legs around my leg, lean back, fall to the ground, and hook in that ankle lock even more to a point where now I'm really going to panic because that's a lot of pressure on my ankle. I have two options, two choices. Tap out or fight out. And of course, you don't want to tap out.
But you've got to put all that strength in the world to fight out. I mean, we see it all the time. We think about the famous, time Stone Cold Steve Austin was in that sharpshooter with Bret the Hitman Hart, Kurt Angle when he had the ankle lock put in, and, Chris Masters when he did the Masters lock all those years. Everybody struggled to get out of that. I mean, there are certain submission holds that when they're locked in, Dean Malenko used to have his Texas Cloverleaf. I mean, there were just, one guy who shall be nameless, who died outside of Atlanta, used to have a thing called a crossface. I mean, we could keep going, in wrestling history, there are so many people that have, submission holds that you can keep fighting out, but eventually that pain is just too significant and severe. And you got to figure out, depending on, even if you're last, you still have to fight this because you've got other people that have got that mentality. And if you want to go out there and find out for a front row seat about future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, Summermania, we've got that poster right here for us at 5666 Sandhurst Drive in beautiful Forest Park, Georgia. Event time is 1 p.m. Are we Eastern time in Atlanta or are we Central time in Atlanta? Are we Eastern time, right? I think 1 p.m. Eastern. So somebody shoot me literally if I got that wrong, but it's 1 p.m. Eastern time to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Bring the chairs, bring the coolers. Basically, it's BYOB, meaning bring your own beverage, bring your own beer, bring your own whatever you have out there. Future Atlanta is back, and it ain't a summer party. It ain't summer without Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling's return to the ring. And Vega Storm's going to be not one but two matches. I don't even know how he's going to stand up afterwards. But we got a lot of comments here. I think it's a good time to bring in the chat. Let's see what the chat has to say here. So let's go here and come up and get some comments here. Yes, Zilla, thank you for giving us no face, but a comment. We always appreciate them thinking of the put eyes to the face, but we'll keep that at that. Thank you, Zilla, for tuning in. This young man who has a shirt that I'm wearing off, Real Raw Energy, and when is he bringing his Real Raw Energy to Atlanta? Or I shouldn't ask that.
I don't know exactly. You have to reach out to Hardcore for that.
Well, he should. I mean, somebody should reach out to this young man. He doesn't live too far from Atlanta, so I mean, he's more closer to Atlanta than some other places he's had, been to.
Mm-hmm.
And he does say
he's like 6'4".
I think he's got to be. Let's see, Anthony Steele's like 6'4", Big Man Cam 6'5", Jack Delta 6'2.5". Is D'Angelo 6'3.5", right? Maybe D'Angelo, if he's here, will still tell us that number, but we'll see if D'Angelo will let us know. But we'll come back to that.
I've seen him compete multiple times, and
yes,
he's somebody who would put up a good fight. He's somebody who will put up a good challenge. And if he ever shows up, I'm always down for anything. Win, lose, or draw, I'm always up for anything. So I know
that
he's
might
still
test
probably
think about this, right? You're the heart of a warrior. You're Vega Storm, the heart of a warrior, the ultimate storm, right? We're always looking in the eye of the storm, right? But think about this. The real raw energy versus the heart of a warrior. I mean, you could basically channel that raw energy and take that heart of a storm. And people talk about Rocky all the time. People talk about Apollo Creed and Rocky. I mean, you guys going at it. I just need that could just be the whole show. That's it. That's the match. That's the show. La Flame and Storm. Think about La Flame and Storm, right? Storms and flames. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Flames get swept up in a storm, right? Because when the flame is in that eye of the storm, the flame gets washed away, right? Don't you think? That's what I heard.
If you've seen the movie Into the Storm,
yes,
you would know.
That flame, it may burn bright, but when it goes right into that storm, it gets swept away.
Yes, it does.
Well, I'm sure Mr. LaFlame may have something to say about that. We'll see. Yes, hello there to Zilla. We thank Zilla for tuning in. Ace Reed, who's talked about also coming to America. He's talked about coming to America. He's in Australia. He's got a couple of championships. He's the BWU champion. He's also Wrestling Zero champion. He's also got another belt on his waist, and he's talked about coming to America. He's another guy that's supposed to be the hardcore kid. I mean, the hardcore kid against the heart of a storm. You were once a kid, but now you're a man. You're a warrior. So, I mean, I don't know if a hardcore kid, could really match up with a, warrior. I mean, Yoshimatsu Matsuda is certainly one thing, but Vega Storm, you were once there and down that road. Now you're a man. Now you're a warrior.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. Just yes.
I mean.
We can move on. We got plenty of comments. Don't worry.
If it was back then, I still have the same mentality back then when I was Vega Kid Storm.
Yes.
Now that I'm a grown man now, I don't.
Were you Vega the Kid Storm when James Taylor interviewed you, or you had just turned into Vega Storm?
I was still Vega the Kid Storm.
So James Taylor is going to say that he took credit for you becoming Vega Storm rather than Vega the Kid Storm.
No.
I know it's a joke. It's a joke. Actually, it's a joke. Let me get to some more comments here, but I hope Ace is here, and I know Ace will certainly be back on Sportswire when he wants to. Yes, hello there. My buddy, Mr. Darkron. Thank you, Mr. Darkron, for the nice words. Yes, I know people on Facebook are telling me to stay safe. I am trying to stay safe. Unfortunately, you walk outside, and that's the way it goes. I mean, I've changed my route time I'm walking. I've changed the directions I'm going. It's just
Listen, if you need some training, if you need some training,
I'm in New York. Though. You guys are in Georgia. I mean, if I moved to Georgia, I wouldn't be dealing with this. But I'm in New York right now. I don't think most of our chats really doesn't live near me. So really, I mean, Big Man Camp said I should be packing, basically carrying like a firearm, and like that really wouldn't work in New York City. We really wouldn't be allowed.
You said it was a kid, right?
What's that?
You said it was a kid that came up to you.
No, they're like college. They're like in college. Yeah, it's not like they're driving in a car. They're like 19, 20. They're not like 10. They're like kids. They're like, I mean, they're kids relatively speaking, but they're in like college. They're between, like 18 and 21. They're driving around. It's just,
they should know.
They live in a neighborhood. It's just one of those things. It's just a random fluky occurrences. Look. It's what it is, it's not as bad as last year. I was in a regular bar that I go to and eat, and a guy basically wanted to fight me randomly. He was drunk out of his mind. I went to get a seat. I didn't shake his hand, and long story, that's just the luck, but we'll be here with you. Yes, hello there. And the good guy, CJ Black, a man Mr. Copper Dragon thinks extremely highly of. He is a 2-time 7-star superstar, and he was a part of things today in ROEW's Friday Night Face-Off, and congratulations to the guys. They're getting one step closer to 1,000 subs. A real man knows at least 3 counters to every hold.
Yeah, he's not lying.
And would you know 3 counters to every hold?
A little bit more than that, actually.
Oh, wow. That's very good. Wow, that's very good. That's why you're in this match. Yes, hi to the good guy, CJ Black. Okay. I think he's talking to Zilla. Correct on... I wonder what the correct is on.
Probably on his height.
6'4". Yeah, 6'4". I thought I said between 6'3.5" and 6'4". I remember from the one of the shows we did, and that came up. Well, thank you, D'Angelo. D'Angelo is very tall, but we have the poster here. That's where people can find out more information. Let's put this off the screen, and let's come back here to future Atlanta Pro Wrestlers. Okay, so you've got 2 matches now. We've talked about the Sinister Six for a little bit. Are you concerned? You got to go now in this battle royal. So let's say whether you win this or you lose it. I know we spoke to you before. I know I spoke to you a little bit when Hardcore came here, had that announcement, whatever it was, a month or so ago. But in terms of where this match is placed, you want it to go first? Do you want it to go right before the battle royal? How do you feel in terms of where do you want to go in terms of the placement of the match?
Well, knowing it's a battle royal, you never know what your position would be.
Right. But in the Sinister Six match, do you want that to be the first match of the show? Do you want that to be right before the battle royal? Like, where would you, if you had to pick?
I would like for it to be somewhat near, like a match or two before the battle royal, but not knowing how Hardcore could be, he could have it right after. You never know. And not knowing what position you're going to come out in, I don't have much time to, stop and take a breather.
So if you lose the Sinister Six for whatever reason, you're maybe even eliminated last, then all of a sudden that battle royal is like a few minutes after. I mean, mentally, how are you going about that? That's a really, important question. That's like in sports, right? You're a sports fan. I could tell, right? What if you were playing in the playoffs? You were in the NBA playoffs, right? And you had a game to clinch on your home court, right? And you lost that game, but then you don't even get the travel day. You got to go back the next day. There's no travel. At least you get the one travel day. You have to go that next day into the other team's building, and they get to clinch. It's kind of the same scenario.
Yeah. It's more on the lines of, like I said before, I've heard people say, "Oh, you're dumb for taking this," or "You wasn't thinking for taking."
I mentioned it on the show. Listen, I mentioned it when Hardcore was here, and we talked about you with Anomaly. I talked about it because I was like,
blind and
why?
Right. Well, like I said, regardless, there is an opportunity. There is a chance that I can win, but there is also an opportunity, and there's a chance that I can lose. But regardless of if I win or lose, I'm still going into this Rumble with my head on my shoulders, motivated and ready to go. Yeah, now some people, they lose and it's like, they're down in the dumps, their heads all low and things like that. That can mess up your self-esteem. That can mess up your motivation. But with me being the heart of a warrior, I can't let something like that get in my way.
But you do know that even the average person, that's the most resilient person, you could go into that Sinister Six if the match is before the battle royal, and you're that last person eliminated to lose that FAPW world title. That's a deflator.
Yeah.
You agree, right?
Yeah, because regardless, and I had to think about this the other day, regardless, the Rumble is for a briefcase.
I was going to get to that. I was actually going to be my next point, that's the briefcase.
So even if I do win the championship and I go into the Rumble, let's just say I might be hurt. The winner,
and somebody tries to cash in on you.
That's where the mental game plays in. That's where you have to try to mentally prepare yourself. But how can you mentally prepare?
I was going to say the same thing. People come on all the time on Sportswire. We talk about these matches, right? We talk about them. We go the tail of the tape. I've been doing this a long time in wrestling. I've done college basketball. So, it was always fun. I used to go and watch the college basketball. I would watch the players. I would get a chance to cover them. I went to a couple playoff games, and you kind of get into that sense of like, okay, well, there's a preparation for it. You kind of know cut and dry who your opponent is, where you're going from. We have college soccer coverage coming up here next month on the platform at some point. But like you said, you can't prepare for this. I don't even know what to tell you, what to say. I don't know.
I've had a couple of people just say good luck, because that's all you can say. Mentally, it's like you're not winning. You can't win if you lose. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I win this belt, I still got to go into the battle royal. But if I go into this Rumble and I lose, and that person is right there with the briefcase, I could still be outside on the ground, or I can be hurt or something like that. I could be the last person.
Does that worry you? Hypothetically, you win the Sinister Six, you win the future Atlanta Pro Wrestling World Championship, and somebody wins that battle royal, and you know you get Drew McIntyre. You worried about that?
Worried about it? I'm not gonna lie to you and say no. Yes, I am worried about it because I'm coming from a Sinister Six match. Then I'm coming straight into, like, if I win, I'm coming into a battle royal where I'm already hurt. So if that person wins that briefcase, and I'm like the last person, it's just
I
me,
was gonna say the same thing. If
then
you're the last participant for whatever reason in that battle royal, and they win it, and then they
easily
cash in on you.
right there. And then it's like I'm sitting in the corner and I just kissed my title goodbye because
Just everything we saw it here in NEW, right? We have the guys in NEW, D Savage, right? D Savage and his company, like 3 months ago, wins their company's title.
right.
Like you, building himself up, and
Mhm.
Jake Dvorak cashes in on him and wins. He's got his briefcase, and he cashes in on him, and his title run was almost as quick as a New York Minute. Done,
Exactly.
done.
Exactly. There's already a referee right there. I mean, the title's there, the briefcase is there. So it's like,
Have you thought about the scenario that if you're in the Sinister Six and win it, that can you not enter in the battle? Have you ever even? I know you're the heart of a warrior, you're the ultimate storm. Have you even thought about that scenario, or even to eliminate yourself at a certain point, just so you don't have to worry about that? No, you don't want to do it. You're a competitor.
no, I would never sit
Why?
there. I would never sit there and eliminate myself because that's not my role. That's not who I am. I already said before, I go by the John Cena motto. Okay,
I know.
give
Never
up.
give up. Yep.
All right. I live by that standpoint. I live by that standard. Just like the theme song says, I have a heart of a warrior. I've been down, I've been out, and I have bled. But I would never stop. I would never stop fighting until I take my last breath.
But you wouldn't
Regardless,
be. But nobody would blame you if you did that.
no, yes, they would. The
Why?
the fans, the people that look up to me, the people that support me, they would blame me. I would blame myself for just easily giving up an opportunity like that. Yeah, I sat here and hyped it up and I talked so much about it just for me to throw in the towel at the let. No, no, no. I would never do something like that. I can't. I don't
But
care how bad.
everybody in this sport, but you know that the ramifications are extremely serious and it's dangerous what you're going into. You don't, you know that. You have to know that at least.
Life is dangerous.
I've
As
seen
you
it
noticed,
firsthand.
as
I've
you
this whole
noticed,
summer. I be honest with you, I cannot wait for summer to end at this point. And I love summer, and I can't because like I just this randomness is just like it's just bizarre. So yeah, you don't know what happens. I was actually having a great day today, and all I do is go out and have a sandwich. And, there you go. So yeah, listen, life is dangerous. Yes, you're right, absolutely right. We've seen it. We have a
everything.
person in the backyard wrestling Nexus who died a couple years ago. Yeah, it's unfortunately it is dangerous. Yes, I agree.
Exactly. So, like I said before, there's no way that I can mentally prepare myself and think, okay, of course I'm not going to doubt myself because I'm not the type of person that's going to doubt myself. I'm never going to doubt myself. And I'm not going to underlook my opponents either because everybody from Jordan Chris on down to Jermaine Hartwick, like I said before, they've all have a past. They've all came from different locations and places. I used to wrestle in GWC with Jermaine Hardwick.
I was
So I
going to
know,
say that next. But
yeah,
is there of those named opponents, like let's talk about Franchise Peace, who's well known outside of the wrestling world. Jordan Chris, a little bit. And then Jermaine Hardwick, who obviously there's a lot of history there. Is there of those opponents, let's say, are you concerned most about any of those three? Or is there one that you're worried more about or no?
I'm not. It's not that I'm worried, but I will keep my eye on, and I guess try to continue to mentally focus on. Um, Jermaine Hardwick, he's one of them. Like I said, I've had history with him. You never count out Jermaine Hardwick. That guy is sneaky and he can wrestle.
Do you think that that's going to be more personal? At least I know you're the heart of a warrior, but do you think it'll be more personal from his vantage point if you and him are in that, obviously battling each other?
Because we've been opponents, we've been tag team partners. It's going to be personal. But the one person that I will say that I will have my eye on the most is Franchise Peace.
You read my mind. You read my mind on him because of his following, his well-known following. That's a guy that brings something to the table, and he would love to make a name for himself and go with his following, stand-up comedian, performer. I mean, he would love to make a name for himself and win this championship, and that would be over you as one of those competitors.
Exactly, because I've seen him. That man can go, maybe 30-something minutes in the match and keep going and have the energy and the stamina to continue to go another match and another match. Yeah, no, he's somebody I have to really watch out for because cardio and stamina helps in situations like this. But even if, let's just say I have a messed up knee, I have to mind play my opponents. I have to, if I show them that I'm limping on this knee, that's an easy target.
And look, he's training already. He's going out there. He's training. He's going out there right now and training as we speak.
The guy is a beast.
The guy is a jack of all trades and a master of all of them. He's a rapper, comedian. He's a public speaker. He's a public figure. He's got a household following. I mean, and he's a guy, looks like out of central casting that could win that championship. And you better believe he would love to win that championship and give future Atlanta Pro Wrestling maybe a household name to cover and represent them on top and help future Atlanta Pro Wrestling to go to some new places.
Exactly. And like I said before, I've seen him in the ring before multiple times.
Yep, he wrestled in future Atlanta before, yes.
And Hardcore even said it. If you really want it, you would stop at nothing.
He's been successful in his life outside of wrestling. He's like a Yoshimatsu Matsuda who's been more successful outside of the wrestling world. James Taylor, a man who interviewed you, arguably is more successful by leaps and bounds outside of wrestling in the ring competing. And he's another one like this. So for him, he's used to having that drive to be successful. For him, this is second nature. Wrestling's a hobby, more or less.
Exactly. It is. But the way he carries on, like you said before, I can't even tell you. I've never seen anybody. I don't think I've even seen the WWE pull something off like this. So to know that he's in this match.
Yeah, look at who he's with. That guy's pretty well known, Mr. Keenan Thompson. Obviously, that's a guy that, Saturday Night Live, Good Burger. All that. Keenan and Kel. This is a guy, and he's right there on a bill with him.
Yep.
On a bill with him. This is a big deal to have him here.
It is a big deal. And see, like I said, seeing him in the gym working out, to think out of all people, having him in the match. That's why I said, yeah, Jermaine is one of them. I know Jordan Chris is another. I know Brandon. Yes, I know all of these people are going to be a threat. But this guy right here, like you said, he's a jack of all trades.
Yep.
He is somebody that I'm going to have to watch for because and I've seen him wrestle. Like I said, it's going to be a challenge, but I'm open to it. I always walk dead in a challenge with my head on my shoulders, ready to go for anything. Like I said, I would never back down from anybody.
We're going to find out, obviously, and if you want to follow Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, and also a reminder is the show is taking place 2 weeks from tomorrow, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., that's Eastern time, and it's BYOB. Also, bring your chairs, and it's Summer Mania. It's going to be a summer without summer until you go watch Summer Mania from our friends at Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. I want to thank Mr. Hardcore, obviously, for granting us this opportunity to return for coverage with Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. I'm going to be back here a couple of times this weekend, even though they might in the street might not want me to go back out there, but I will be back tomorrow with Big Tex of DBW. He'll be here tomorrow, I believe, around 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Big Tex is in the house. I've also got Sunday night, Jack Delta, the Jack Delta. If you were a backyard wrestling fan, I know you know who Jack Delta is. The outsider, Jack Delta, the ROEW World Heavyweight Champion, is in the house, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll also have Napalm at some point during the day. He is the legendary backyard wrestling new world champion for the second time. He was Drew McIntyre, but he recovered. He was a couple of months. It took him back. He was Drew McIntyre, but he did win back his championship. So there is hope. Hope springs eternal. But those men will be here all weekend on Sportswire Radio. If you're here, also please hit the sub button for us at Sportswire Radio 6579. I am one step closer to 1,000 subs. Maybe that means I'll be here 24 hours. Once I get to 1,000 subs, that means you can pretty much just stream on YouTube all day, and I'm almost there. So maybe that's the key. And Vega Storm will roast me when I get to 1,000 subs. I'd like to get it by my birthday. I have a shot. I think I need about like 3 subscribers a day, so I'm close on that pace. Maybe you'll help me get there. I have some big guests coming on next week. I think that will get me closer to that number. And every day I get closer, but I've got some comments that want to get close to you. And my buddy Cato's in the house. Cato is important because he is traveling to the All Wrestling Matters hardcore tournament. He's traveling from the state of Illinois to Massachusetts. He is driving like about a day. I think he last night here was in Cincinnati, between Louisville and Cincinnati. And I wonder if he's made it now. I hope he's safe out there, him and Naomi. I know Mac 10, of course, our landlord of Sportswire Radio, the Deathmatch Werewolf, was telling me he just arrived. Unfortunately, we were going to try to connect to me today, but which maybe would have saved me from my, incidents today. I would have went and met Mac, like kind of the irony of it. But I wound up working from home because I was waiting for Mac, and Mac unfortunately got to JFK 5 hours late, unfortunately. So it never happened. But that's kind of how it goes. But I'm glad Mac is on his way, and we look forward to Mac being in that tournament alongside Cato. And yes, good to see everybody as well. And yes, we'll appreciate all that stuff. Okay. So we'll take this off the screen for now. I'll put the poster back up in a few minutes. But, I wanted to ask you about a couple of other things. Obviously, Andre Anamali, who had a lot to say a couple of weeks ago. And, he's obviously the worldwide universal champion in future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. And he has his own match to worry about. And he's a man you could very well see in that battle royal. And he had a few things to say about you when he was here on Sportswire Radio. In many ways, he kind of got himself onto the platform really because he saw your interview and hardcore other people being announced for FAPW. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe respond and say a couple of things about the one and only Andre Anamali.
Yeah, the comment he made, he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he's just a guy.
Yep.
And we can't have a guy being the champion. They said the same thing about John Cena. And we already know John Cena played face, he played heel, but he also became a champion. So you want to say that I'm just a guy? I'm just a guy who is live on Sportswire.
Well, he feels that when he originally said those things that you were here first, and he's the worldwide universal champion. He's also a multi-talented star. He's got a new album coming out in a few days, and he's doing podcasting in his own right. And he feels like in some ways, maybe he should be that representative of FAPW.
Because you have a championship?
He's a champion, though. Worldwide, universal. Universal.
You can be a champion. And I said this before. You can be a champion without.
Yeah, we hear this all the time, but the belt doesn't make the man. The man makes the belt. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. And, well, let's just say you lose that championship to whoever wins that briefcase. Like Hardcore said, what? Are you still going to be Mr. Champion? Are you still going to try to call somebody out and something like that? Or are you going to try
But he's confident it's not going to happen. He's confident about everything he's going through with Delborn and he fought too hard. He talked about, if you recall a few weeks ago, he talked about his own family situation, what's happened with his daughter, what he's went through to be in this sport. He's determined. I mean, he is a determined man, and he'll walk through glass barefoot to keep that title on his shoulders and to stop guys like you from being the representative for future Atlanta Pro Wrestling.
Which means I'm a threat to him.
You're a competitor. I don't know. I mean, you have to ask him that question if you're a threat. You can see him in 2 weeks, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. And I remember he said something about if they're smart enough to come after him. Well,
Yes.
how would you want somebody to come after you? You would think you want somebody to eliminate themselves. I don't know. I'm not thinking with my brain today. Let's just say this: you step in the ring with me, I'm going to show you exactly what I've shown others. People like Jermaine Hartwig, people like Cliff Balcom.
I was going to get to him. Yep.
I'll even say it. People like Xavier Thorne. Why they call me the Ultimate Storm? Why they call me Mr. Art of a Warrior? Because I don't stop. I don't quit. And I damn sure don't give up to somebody who walks around with a belt, calling himself a champion, and don't put the work in for it. And I'm
Whoa.
getting personal. I'm not, getting personal. This ain't a shoot. It's just a promo.
Yeah, we've actually moved away from that on Sportswire the last 5. We're moving away from that stuff. We get a lot of great feedback actually from it. I think Alan Michaels talked about it on Sunday. It's so we're not shooting, but you said a couple of things though there about him
Mhm.
being a champion. You want to elaborate or?
Because I've seen quite a number of people, whether it's on a podcast or watching YouTube.
Everybody's here every night. Listen, your peers every night in the backyard and underground circuit are here in this platform. More oftentimes than not, they're champions. They tout how many times they've been a champion or what they've done. So, your peers are here every night. You
Right.
tell me you watch. You know the deal. You're watching your peers, and a lot of them say those things. Part of the course.
But still, you walk around with a belt on your shoulders, calling yourself a champion. But did you earn it? Did you really earn it?
He
Or
beat Del Born.
are you like just calling yourself a champion because you have the belt on your shoulder? Because I can win a championship, but without a belt, I'm still a champion. I've earned that title. I can gladly say I've earned that title. Somebody like the California Kid, the Copper Dragon, could say the same thing. I've earned that title as the champion. And I will gladly prove that to him.
He's gonna
If
say though he's defeated Del Born.
he's defeated Del Born, I've defeated Cliff Balcom. I've defeated Jermaine Hartwig.
He's gonna say though he's got Del Born again, and it'll be 2 for 2.
If it's 2 for 2, then But have you ever stepped in the ring one-on-one with the
What do you think
Storm?
it'll be like though? You and him cross paths in that battle royal.
Hardcore said controlled chaos.
Yes, he did. Correct. Controlled chaos. Yes, that was a big thing on last time's show with Mr.
Exactly. Well, I'm saying I'm going to break down the chaos doors. I'm going to show him and every other person who steps in that ring, whether or not I win, whether if I lose, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm going to walk out with my head on my shoulders, and I'm going to show them why I am the heart of a warrior, why I don't stop, I don't quit, I don't give up. And I will continue to prove that. I don't care who my competitor is. And let's just say I do leave empty-handed, and he's still a champion. Well, since you're a champion and you've been through a lot and I've been through a lot, and you have that belt on your shoulders, I'm not saying right away, of course, because I want to work my way up to being able to face you.
But let me ask you something, though. You said something interesting, Vegas Storm. So I'm going to play the hypothetical game for a second, right? And tell me your thoughts on this, because we talked about, let's say you hypothetically winning Sinister Six and you getting cashed in on that battle royal. But let's say, for example, you come up short the Sinister Six for whatever reason, right? But in that battle royal, right, you win the battle royal, and it's you and Anomaly that are those last 2 competitors. Would you do what some in that spot could do and use the briefcase and cash in on him? Or you're Vegas Storm, you're too much have heart of a warrior. You wouldn't do something like that. Would you do that potentially? If it's even the world champion, whoever could be, if it's franchise piece and you and him are the final 2, or Jermaine Hardwick, certainly. Where do you fall on something like that? I think that's a really interesting question.
It is. Well, let's just say you pull a Drew McIntyre and they won the belt, and then 5 minutes later they lose. They're gonna blame you. You stole my belt, this, that, and the third. You want to be that type of person that gives somebody an opportunity or a chance. I can't say what I would do because the briefcase.
You wouldn't want to say it live on this platform because your opponents will listen to this.
No. When I say I don't know what I would do, you have the briefcase in your hand right there. But let's just say I'm already injured enough.
But you wouldn't want to tell them that anyway. Hey, this is what I'm going to do. No, why would you want to tell them that live?
You're right. You're right. But I'm going to be upfront with you about it. I could be injured, and having the briefcase, yeah, you're going to want to be like, okay, he's right here. I don't know how injured he is, but I got the briefcase. If I cash it in and I lose right then and there, then the Sinister Six match, the Battle Royal will all have been for nothing. Whether I do win, if I do cash it in and I do win, then yes. But there's always a possibility, I want my rematch. I'm going to call you on the promo. I want my rematch. You'll get your rematch, of course. But I think realistically, there is an opportunity. If I do win, I take that briefcase and I get too greedy. Like, oh, you know what? I just won. I want to cash it in right now. And then I turn around and he hits me with his finisher. 1, 2, 3. I lose the briefcase and I lose the belt. So realistically, I don't know. I don't know if I would cash in or not. I don't know. I couldn't have an answer for you on that. I don't think I probably would.
But you're obviously, though, wanting first to win the Sinister Six, right? That's the main goal.
Yes. And like I said, if I do win the Sinister Six, my biggest thing is focusing on the Battle Royal.
And what if you even win? How about the fact you could win the Sinister Six and the Battle Royal? Boy, you want to talk about, forget about Roman, what everybody talks about what Roman did.
Oof.
I mean, boy, woof. You want to talk about some performance? Listen, Vega stuff. You do that, you might be like I might have to name you like Backyard Wrestler of the Year. Like we might have to have like 2 Hall of Fame ceremonies like in one day next month. You pull something like that, I mean, boy, you talked about LeBron and what LeBron's done for this sport. I mean, we talked about Tom Brady, but if you do something like that, I mean, I think that's more impressive than when Roman stacked Daniel Bryan when he was Daniel Bryan and Edge back in WrestleMania 4 years ago.
Now, see, there's the mental game right there. I wasn't even thinking that way.
Well, that's why we're here on this platform.
Man, now I'm speechless. There's the mental game. I'm focusing on if I win the belt or if I win the briefcase. That's the mental game.
But you could still win both. There is that scenario out there. I mean, who's to say you're competing in both? Why can't that be a scenario that you could win both?
And if I win both and I cash in the briefcase on whoever wins with Andre versus Dale. Oh, look! Don't get me all hyped. Don't
That's the whole thing. Listen, I mean, you want to talk about your career flashing before your eyes? You know, everybody talks about LaFlame. Oh, LaFlame's done this. He was a double champion just before in Resurrection, and he had the All Wrestling Matters World Championship. You know, Justin Parsley is the PWF World Champion. He's now defending it in several different promotions. You know, people talk about, we have a guy Comatose here who just was in our Hall of Fame and holds 3 championships. And we had Ace Reed, who was here, had 3 championships. But to win 2 things in one night, I mean, Chris Jericho did that years ago and won the 2 world championships. I mean, there have been, but nobody I think has won a battle royal and a world championship in a single night. I don't know if that's, somebody may tell me differently in the chat, but I don't know if that's happened before. I don't know, at least. I don't know.
I don't think so either. I to be the first person to.
I mean, that's a whole. I have to give you. I have to probably put you in the Hall of Fame twice if you do that.
Man. So to be able to pull something like that off, to be the first person to ever pull something like that.
I don't think anybody. I just don't think in a single night has done that, right? Or maybe somebody can correct me. I'm trying to think in wrestling history. Is that I don't think it's happened before. I just don't think it has.
In the same way you just sat here and said, there's a possibility that I can do it. There's a possibility that Cliff Barkham can do it. That Jermaine Hardwick can do it. I mean, franchise.
Yeah, but I got you to. Yes, I agree with you that sure, could Franchise Peace do it? Could Hardwick do it? Could Jordan Chris do it? Yes, but I got you tonight. I don't have them. I'm with you. You could be the one that does that. I couldn't ask them that question and what they would think, but I can ask you that because you're here right now in prime time.
Listen.
Yeah.
If I win the Sinister Six match, or if I win the briefcase, I'm gonna do one thing.
Come back to Sportswire, obviously.
Exactly. I'm gonna look directly at the camera and I'm gonna say, "Hey Tom, I'll be waiting for your call."
Well, I got you. Listen, I was supposed to bring you here Tuesday, and I actually brought you here Friday instead. So I mean, listen, right. I think I made up for like all the times you wanted to come on here and did, and I think that's fair. I'm sure management should be very happy tonight.
Yes, really are.
Good. I'm happy to have you. We needed this. It's been a good run of shows on Sportswire. But before I do something else, let me take this off the screen. Obviously, this is the show. First of all, 2 weeks from tomorrow, Summer Mania, Sandhurst Drive in Forest Park, Georgia. Beautiful Forest Park, Georgia. I said pork. It's park. I mean, I don't even eat pork, actually. I really don't. But its event time is 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's BYOB. Bring chairs, coolers. It's going to be a summer like no other. Please support our friends over at Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. And I want to thank Mr. Hardcore. I want to thank everybody on staff and management for this, to be able to promote this. We have Vega Storm here. We're going to have post-show coverage as well. You can go to the Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling YouTube and Instagram pages for more information. And before I do anything else, I want to give a congratulations. Speaking of somebody that interviewed you once upon a time, Mr. Vega Storm, who was not me. I guess there was somebody else that actually interviewed you who was not on Sportswire Radio, but he's always here on Sportswire Radio. He's a major influence on this platform. I am talking about a man who just recently today, he reached 1,000 subscribers on his YouTube page. I wish it was me. I still need another 120 some odd to go. It's not me, but it's okay. It's a very good friend of the show who is obviously always here, a man who should probably take over this platform for me. We probably have the 1,000 subs already. That is the legendary James Taylor, and Taffy's Lounge. There it is. Just surpassed 1,000 subscribers. He did this in 7 weeks. Was it, James? What did you do in 7 weeks? Yes, I know I'm going to get to 1,000. James, I had a weird day today. I went outside and I thought I was going to get jumped or fought or whatever it was. Read my Facebook post. It was like a bizarre incident thing, but it is what it is. People had fun with it on Facebook, I guess. But, you got to 1,000 subscribers. I want to say when James is back on Sportswire, I'm sure it'll be soon, I'm going to make sure he gets a certificate, but he reached 1,000 subscribers with his Taffy's Lounge. If you want to support Taffy's Lounge, I see we have about 15 or so people here. Hit the sub button for him. I want to see him get 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. Almost like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. 1 Mississippi. I was funny. I was in the city after I spoke to James, and I was like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. But yes, he did it in about 3 months. So it was close than that. Yeah, through about 3 months or so. And if you like lounge music, hi-fi, lo-fi beats, if you like relaxing, chill music that's heartfelt, you can drift away, not like the Uncle Cracker song, but just get relaxing music with certainly a taste of James Taylor and those anime-like photos. That's his page. Please support him. He is also the owner of ROEW. So thank you, James, for your support. And I will give you a certificate soon. And I still have a little bit more to go. I'll get to 1,000, but James got there first. Congratulations to James. And James will now go back to doing some more TikToks because he's doing more cat ones. Check his Instagram out, by the way. He posted this one where a guy saved a cat. It was a really good post. Check it out. But let me get to some more comments. Yeah, that's doable. I'm going to get to 1,000. You already know that. You're going to roast me, you and Vega together. He's back, though. Good evening, gentlemen. Been enjoying this conversation. I love hearing my talent speculate how things will go. You want to say anything about that to Mr. Controlled Chaos himself, Mr. Hardcore?
Listen, Hardcore. You've put me through the ringer before.
Yes, he has.
but you've also opened doors for me. If it wasn't for you, like I said before, there wouldn't be a Vega Storm. And I want to thank you.
But
I really do
isn't
want
it
to.
thank you after putting you through this?
Yes, because again, this is a challenge, and he's put me through multiple challenges before.
This is like walking though with barefoot through glass.
Yes, glass, a pit full of snakes, a pit full of spiders, a fire pit, all of it.
I like that Snakes on a Plane movie. You ever watched
Woo!
the Snakes on a Plane? That was
Oh
a good movie.
man, I hate that movie. I hate that movie.
That was good point.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the 7th. I have more time to again try to get my mind right and focus on what I want and my goal, and I'm not gonna let my fans down.
I think that's, you know what, and we're here with Vegas Storm. Of course, he is a part of Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. Please support them on YouTube, Instagram. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. And if you are here, yes, you can hit the sub button for me. I am still trying to get to 1,000 subs. I'll get there one day. But in the meantime, we're here with our friends in Future Atlanta, who, by the way, I'm talking about trying to get to 1,000. They would just be like, "Well, I'll take your page instead." They're just starting out, so they would, like I shouldn't be complaining because there are people out there that come on this platform. They're like, "Wow, you have that many subs?" I mean, I hear that all the time. So I'm like, yeah, I do, but I still feel like we need more. But I want to ask you this though, because in a way, you make a good point because the 2-week layoff may actually help you that 2-week hiatus. Because again, sometimes people look at it in sports. Again, I think you're a sports fan. You seem like one. And, like, again, we talked about the NBA, right? The NBA playoffs is a very long grind, right? The NBA playoffs is 2+ months. And the team that wins that championship, they have to win 16 games. And sometimes a team might get a couple of extra days off. The Boston Celtics were this year's NBA champions. And if I recall correctly, they had a layoff between the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals, and they had a layoff between the semifinals and the conference finals because the team that they faced in the Eastern Conference Finals was the Indiana Pacers, who went through a grueling 7-game series with the New York Knicks. So you can look at it and say, conversely, hey, you know what? I'm getting 2 more weeks to get my body, to get my mental state in that frame of mind, to get me to focus a little more, maybe have a few extra thoughts. Sometimes people looked at it like another example was taking the SATs. Or I took law in college, and I remember sometimes getting the extra couple of days. I remember even taking the SATs. I took the SATs the third time I took the SATs. I did the best because I had now got the extra time, because the first time I took it, it was my first time. The second time I took it, it was like very close in between the first and the second. But the second time and to the third time, I had a little bit of a break. So I had more time to prepare, more time to focus. I knew what the questions were. So maybe you can say, Vegas Storm, the 2 extra weeks might work to your advantage for those reasons.
Right. And again, some people are kind of bummed out about it. It's like, oh man, tomorrow's the 24th. And, this is a good thing for everybody. This gives you a little bit more time to prepare. Like, okay, because, the day before the show or even 2 days before the show, you're starting to get bubble guts. You're starting to get
Get the nervous stomach knots. Yeah, I know. Like
okay.
first day of school jitters. Yep.
Now I'm like, okay, well, this gives me more time to get more motivated, more pumped, more time to mentally prepare for myself. Like, okay, well, this is the biggest time of my life right now. This is one of the biggest events I've ever been in my entire life. And it's 2 of them. And yet, like I said, there's a chance that I could walk out of FAPW champion. But there's also an opportunity for me to walk into the Sinister Six match, win the championship, walk into the Rumble, possibly lose the Rumble, possibly lose the belt in the same day, or possibly win the briefcase all in the same day.
It's just so many scenarios that.
So many scenarios.
It's all complicated. It's, but that's why you have to go out there. Let me ask you, I know there's a couple of comments. I'll get to them in a second, but this is the biggest sign of your career?
Yes.
Does this make or break your career?
It could do both. It could do both. Um, because if let's just say I do lose the Sinister Six match and I do lose the briefcase, then people are wondering like where would that put me, like my mind space, where would that put me mentally? Like, okay, I'm Heart of a Warrior, I never give up and I never back down, but I just lost these two big matches my entire career. How am I going to come back from that? How am I going to bounce back from that? What are my steps to bouncing back from that? But this also could make my career. I could walk out as champion. I could walk out as Mr. Money in the Bank. I could walk out as both. Then you'll see me on Sportswire a lot more.
Oh, yes, I think to win both. Listen, I already said what I would say, but I think, yeah, I think. Listen, you win something. Yeah, I mean, I think you become somebody that would have a story, somebody that would be here more. And why wouldn't you be? I mean, D'Angelo. Let's go with D'Angelo. He was here earlier in the show, right? D'Angelo. When I had him here, he had won the internet title maybe like a month or two, I think. Maybe a month. He'd been the internet champion for 2 months. And then he wound up, everybody knows him now, right? People could go out and they don't know every backyard wrestler or
Mm-hmm.
underground wrestler, but they know his name now. I
Right.
don't think it's because he came on Sportswire. Some people would say yes, but I think he had success. He was the real raw energy.
Right.
But,
Right.
let me get to a couple of comments here, especially one in particular. His name is Andre Anamali, and he would like to say, before I actually promote something of his, you will get carted out on a stretcher.
Hmm. You'll get carted out on a stretcher.
Mm-hmm.
I've been hurt. I've been injured. I've had bruised ribs. I've had mild concussions. I mean, God knows I put myself through basic training in the United States Army. Um, and all those times I've been hurt, have I ever had to go to the hospital. Never have I ever had the ambulance called for me. So that's the first time I've ever had that comment been said to me. Mr. Anomaly, you're gonna have to literally kill me before that ever happens. Because let everybody else tell you, I'm Vega Storm. I don't go down without a fight. So you might want to choose your words carefully because you step in the ring with me, whether it's one on one, fatal four, triple threat, doesn't matter. I'm not going down without a fight.
Mm. Interesting. But I did want to give Andre a nice little plug because he's got some new music that's coming out here. And if you'd like to check it out, it'll be released on August the 27th, which is going to be this coming Tuesday. And it's going to be here, some music. You got a chance to look at some of the track selection here. Very excited about it. It's got a whole list of them here. You'll definitely want to check it out. Andre is obviously an outstanding performer. We'll see if he's a better performer than wrestler. Something tells me he'll be able to do a great job in both. And he's got some music there, some really good tracks. Obviously, if you want to go support Andre, you can also check it out here on BandLab. I'm going to make sure we put that plug up here very shortly for the audience so Andre can get a couple of little mentions here. But obviously, here is some stuff you want to check out his BandLab page. You're welcome to do that. And obviously, here on Sports by Radio, Andre is going to be back here next month. We'll definitely talk about the album. We'll talk about some of the different stuff. So if you want to hear some music, you can still like Vega Storm and listen to his music from Andre and Amelie. But there's the music. There's the album. That's his Bandland page. Please check it out. Please go out and support those that support us. Andre has obviously been working very hard in the lab, more or less like Man Lab. We'll see if he's worked harder than Del Bourne. Something tells me here Del Bourne may have nothing on Andre and Amelie, but we're excited about the music. I can't wait for it. August 27th, this Tuesday. And I can't wait also for future Atlanta Pro Wrestling's upcoming show, their triumphant return here. When we put that poster up here one more time before we get to some other thoughts here, it's going to take place 2 weeks from tomorrow. And there you have it here. Look at all this stuff. Look at that logo here. Look at the nice little skylight there. Love Atlanta. Love
Every
Forest
time,
Park.
every time you say 2 weeks,
Yes, I do. I do like to say 2 weeks.
ugh, it just like it's right around the corner.
It is. You know what? People in the locker room, if you don't mind me saying, this is a fun shoot. This is not anything bad. You should be happy. It's 2 weeks from now. Could have been worse. Could have been October. Could have been November. Could have been no show at all. Right? I mean,
Right.
I've done stuff with companies overseas that were supposed to do a show. They're supposed to come on here, and not only did they not have the show, I don't think they came back. Well, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't come back on to the show. They came back like 6 months later with the card. I mean, like, so 2 weeks.
Right.
I think it's just, to me, the equivalent of, if you're a sports fan and a team has an issue, whether there's a venue change with the concert being played, a date has to be pushed back, or if a team instead maybe gets a couple of extra days off because of the other team playing in the series longer. I mean, 2 weeks, and you can look at it this way and saying, okay, all right, we missed this weekend, but next weekend's Labor Day weekend. You don't want to run a show on Labor Day weekend. So to me, this is nothing. 2 weeks?
It's not. It's nothing at all. It's just
No. 2 weeks is
everything.
like, it's close with flies. It's like, to me, nothing.
It's just everything is on the line here.
Oh, for
Everything.
sure. Absolutely.
There's no room for error.
But you
No.
wouldn't want it any other way. And I don't think, to be fair, these competitors in the battle royal and in your match, I think they would agree. I think they would very much agree.
Right. Right. Yeah, they would agree. But again, there's zero room for any mistakes, any error, because one fatal mistake could possibly cost you a championship. One fatal mistake could possibly cost you a briefcase, an opportunity to win a championship of your choosing. Whether if it's
Yeah.
you bragging or showboating, it doesn't matter. You take your eyes off of the prize, or I mean, like I said, you get too cocky with it. One mistake.
But that's like anything else in a match. That's like anything else in a match. And Mr. Anomaly says in 2 weeks, you are meeting your demise.
Hmm, hmm. I am meeting my demise.
Mm-hmm. That's what he says.
Uh, quick question, Tom. Do you know what the definition of demise is?
Someone that would basically be either permanently disfigured, or I guess death. Demise is death, or their basically downfall in some form, which leads to that.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Again, like I said, Anomaly. The only way that would happen is if you literally kill me in that ring. The only way I would ever meet my demise is if you kill me in that ring. You've never faced me one on one. I've never faced you one on one. There really won't be an opportunity for us to face each other one on
That's
one.
on me. I'll take that off the screen. But
But
but yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
but in 2 weeks, let's just say, win, lose, or draw, I can't wait to step in the ring with you, because this will be my first time stepping in the ring with you. And this will be the first time you get to feel what an ultimate storm feels like. And listen, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you, bro. But it's going to take more than just words to tell you or to show you what I can do. So, with that being said, I will see you in 2 weeks.
I think a lot of people might be interested in seeing you and him cross paths. It'd be very fascinating.
Yeah, very fascinating. And let's like Hardcore said, let's just say Dale does beat him, and he doesn't keep his championship. He's going to be put in the same situation as every other person in that battle royal. He is going to have his mind set on one goal: winning that briefcase so he can win back his championship. Like he said before, I say that I'm not doing this for a championship, but I'm in a battle royal. Well, I didn't really have a choice said to be in said battle royal. Everybody is going to be in that battle royal. And yes, I'm going to fight. I'm going to compete for that briefcase because that's my challenge. I continue to push myself. I continue to challenge myself. So later on down the line, years from now, the next generation that's coming up, they get to go on Sportswire, they get to go on FAPW, and they get to look and see, wow, that guy Vega Storm actually did it. That's a big challenge, and he actually competed and he actually won. I give it to him. That's my goal, to continue to push myself, to continue to accept these challenges and go head on with them. Regardless if I win, lose, or draw at the end of the day, people will always remember me as the ultimate Storm, Mr. Heart of a Warrior himself. That's my goal.
Well, let me get to a few more comments before I ask you a few other things. You're welcome, Mr. Vega. It's an honor to put challenges in front of you. It's entertaining to watch you figure out the challenge. Zilla congratulates James Taylor. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. James says thank you. But I want to ask you then, what would it mean to you to win the future Atlanta Pro Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship as the sole survivor in the Sinister Six 2 weeks from now today?
It would mean that I would have a lot on my shoulders. I would have a target on my back, of course, but it would mean the world. Coming from GWC Intensity, I've never won that kind of championship. I never won the world championship. But for me to win the world championship on the show, that oh, that would
Biggest win of your career?
that would enhance my career. That would push my career tenfold. Also, if I won the briefcase as well, that would enhance my career. And that would
I mean,
probably
to win both. We already spoke about that.
right. And that
To
would
win both. I
probably
mean,
open more
I
doors.
mean,
So
that would be like. I think even just winning one. I think winning the world title is what we all aspire to do. But even winning the briefcase. Conversely, what if you just walked away with the briefcase? What would that mean?
it means that even if I lost the Sinister Six match, then I was right all along. That was my shot at redemption. I lost the championship, but did I really lose the championship if I won the briefcase?
Is
That's really
winning a briefcase as the same as winning a championship? How do
yeah,
you view that? You do okay? Because some people would say no, some people say yes.
yeah.
Tell me
No,
why.
a lot of people have their views and opinions on it.
Yeah, it's really a mix. It's very mixed on that. That's a very mixed situation, sure.
Exactly, because same way you win the briefcase, it's the same way you win a title. You can win and lose a title. You can win and lose a briefcase. That briefcase, one chance, one shot, one opportunity. That's all you get. If I cash it in and I get too greedy and I cash it in at the wrong time, there's a possibility, there's a 50-50 chance that I lose that briefcase and I'll also lose the title. So then it'll all be for nothing. But if I play my cards right and I wait to that right moment, regardless, I'm not going to pull a John Cena. I know a lot of people were asking me, "Are you going to pull a John Cena and wait for whoever the champion is to be 100% health and face them again at the next?" No, I'm not going to pull a John Cena. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to play my cards right. I'm not going to attack you from behind though, because that's not who I am. I want you to see me coming head on. I want you to see me coming. I want you to see the ambition. I want you to see the power, the hungriness. I want you to see it. Once I come at you head on, I want you to feel scared. I want you to feel like, oh, what am I gonna do? He's got the briefcase in his hand and I'm hurting, or I'm in this situation. What am I gonna do? I want you to see it. Because from the Sinister Six match all the way down to the briefcase match, that was me working all the way up to that one point in time. I want you to see the pain, the suffering, all of that stuff that I had to go through to get that briefcase or to get that championship. I want you to see it. I want you to feel it. If I pin you and I beat you for that championship, then you will feel all the emotions coming out, of course, because you just lost the belt, of course. And that can go for anybody. That can go for anybody, especially the guys in the Sinister Six match. That can go for anybody. That can go to Dale. That can go to Andre. That can go to the United States champion. It can
Well,
go to
remember, Andre's the cheap. See, Andre at least has got the belt. See, in his case, I mean, I had his story. He's got gold at least. So it's different, I think, in his position, unlike the other people, he's got the belt.
yeah,
The
but
rest of you guys.
he could also lose that belt. This briefcase.
Yes, but he's going. I agree with you on that, but he still is going. No matter, he's going. At least he's going into 2 weeks from today. He's going in as a champion. I agree with you. He has obviously a lot to lose, but in his vantage point, he's still feeling that he's the champion. Still, he's got that still to say, "Hey, I've got the belt." It's almost like, in sports. Again, if a team's going into it, they're the defending champions going into the playoffs. The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl this year, right? They were the defending champions, right? Mm-hmm. They felt like, hey, I won the Super Bowl last year. Right. Who can beat me? I didn't have as good a season in the regular season, but doesn't matter. I made the playoffs. I'm in there. You talked about LeBron, right? The Heat won 2 championships. We talked about the Warriors, right? The Warriors, if you're a basketball fan. How about the Warriors? Tom Brady, right? He won, 7 Super Bowls it was? I mean, he went in there at 40-something years old. So Andre's in the same mindset. So no matter what, he's going into it, I'm a champion. So he's going to, in his mind, he's going into 2 weeks from today completely different, no matter what, in the way you're going, because you're empty-handed right now.
Yeah.
He's got a belt.
Yeah. But again, this is the backyard.
Yeah.
Backyard, anything and everything can happen.
Oh, the backyard. Everything in the backyard. It definitely happened.
Could happen. He could go into the backyard as champion. He could leave the backyard without the championship. So
true.
He has his own mentality right now. He has his own mental game to play. Right now, his thing is, I'm going up against Dale for the championship.
And they have history already. They have history.
They have history. But what if Dale got better? What if Dale has been prepared?
Well, Dale told me that he felt that, he wants to tell his side of the story after this all unfolded. He was going to obviously do it. We're going to do a couple of things, but obviously we've seen the new change, which I think is obviously benefiting everybody for sure. So I think guys like Cliff Balcom, guys like Anomaly, guys like yourself and Mr. Bourne, they'll be back here on this platform after the show, and we're very excited about that. Let me get to a few more comments before we move on here. We want to thank our friend at FAPW. Please go hit that sub button for them. Hit that sub button. And I know the show is going to be on social media that day, so stay tuned for FAPW for more details. Andre Anomaly from his twin brother said will have the heart of a warrior in his hands at Summer Mania. Ooh, it's getting interesting. It's getting dicey here. As well as the Break the Bank briefcase. Trying to get under your skin like me today, this afternoon. What happened to me in the streets? Hee ha ha. Just remember, Vega, beware of blind ambition. We talked about this when you were here. You mentioned me in your promo. Obviously, it feels like a lifetime ago because of the change, but it still stands, and it can be a downfall. And, that's just kind of where we are at this point. It's all going to go tenfold 2 weeks from today now, officially. Today, Atlanta and New York time, and I want to put that poster up here one more time to please support our friends at FAPW. And you can do that.
Thing I say about blind ambition, it has.
I want to hear you about that. Yeah,
my downfall before, and this was back in GWC Intensity, multiple times actually. So as soon as he said blind ambition, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. But I can't let that be my downfall, because after the 7th, that could either make my career or it could break it.
I said that to you throughout I think we spoke about that. There's so many scenarios. You could walk out empty-handed. You could win a belt and walk out empty. That might be the worst feeling. McIntyre, I brought up. We had Bentley in the UK who's coming back here, won a world title, his first world title, and got cashed in on like 5 minutes later. We see these things. The Miz, I think, cashed in on, was it Bobby Lashley? He cashed in, I think, on a few years back. These things happen. That's just the way you listen. You could win both. You could win the briefcase, but not win the belt. You could win the briefcase and cash in on whoever else it is, because it's depending on the battle royal. You could win a belt and get cashed in on if you lose you lose in the battle royal, or you could just win nothing altogether. Which, I don't know how you go about that, but you didn't win. You didn't win. You could
Like
be
like I said earlier, there's no proper way to mentally prepare yourself.
no. It's controlled chaos, and that's really you have to figure that all out. And again, we want people to please support future Atlanta Pro Wrestling. We are so grateful to be working with them. We love all of our companies. And I want to say this before we get to final thoughts. What a great last few days on Sportswire Radio. Leave aside some of the things I've said today about what's going on in the real world that I've talked about. But what a great week. We had Eddie Exile, who talked about his match coming up in the Underground Wrestling Federation, talked about unity, talked about peace in the wrestling world. Alan Michaels from TBW, and he talked about some of the things here about bringing people together and things like this. And we had the legendary James Taylor join us, and Shane Davidson, and we had Judas, who came from a near-death-like experience to call out the legendary Dark Crown. What a story that was. Tuesday on the show, we had Jacob Frost now, a legendary backyarder who goes back to the GBYW and who made a triumphant return to the yard as a part of BTW, Backyard Trampoline Wrestling. What a great group of guys back in the great state of Oregon. We had on Jake Dvorak, our buddy Jake Dvorak, in the Facebook group chat with the All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament kicking off today. What a great show, Jake. I'm so happy Jake got the response that he had. So great to see the community. We had a great interview, talked about a lot of things like this. So heartened and humbled by the support for that. Levi McDaniel yesterday, and what a great interview. What a great story he was. The same injury Paul Orndorff has had in his journeys, and you coming on here basically 45 minutes announced and having a great conversation. Just a really great group of shows on Sportswire Radio. I'm so excited that you're going to join me to continue that. We have Jack Delta coming on here Sunday night, 10 o'clock, a legend in the backyard circuit. A man, Copper Dragon, has rated 7 stars before. We have Big Tex from WZW. I want to wish a very happy birthday to Mr. Eddie Exile himself. Eddie is in the ring tomorrow in Philadelphia for the Underground Wrestling Federation, a fellow New Yorker like me. I can't thank Eddie enough for his support of Sportswire. I can't thank Eddie enough for everything he's done for us in our community. Eddie is just a man wise behind his ears, one of the just nicest people in our circuit. He's going up against Rizzy. I know it's going to be a banger of a match. Eddie's going to be back on here to talk about those things. I can't wait to see what Eddie does out there. I can't thank him enough for his contributions for our sport. Everything he's done in TF Crew, NEW, WZW, WTW, UWF. And this is what it's about. Guys like Vega Storm who are here, guys like Eddie X out here making a difference for us in our communities. That's what it is about. We are done with the shooting. We are done with the drama. We are moving forward. There are people here that need to be here. We are getting on the message of supporting all wrestling matters, and that's what we are here about on Sportswire Radio. The people are happy. We have turned a new leaf. The viewership shows it. 18,000 views in the last 90 days, 200 plus subscribers. People want change. They want hope. People are talking about help and hope now. We're bringing it back. There was once upon a time a slogan about hope and change. We are bringing that down in the backyard. God, people are really gonna want to beat me up now because I provoked politics in here. So now I talked about bringing hope in. We want to bring hope into the backyard circuit. Boy, everybody wants toxicity in the backyard circuit, but no, we want to bring hope now. Maybe that's gonna be my whole thing now. I'm gonna do an animated thing with hope. Boy, people, half the platform's gonna hate me, half the people's gonna love. So we're gonna move on from that. But we'll just say thank you, Eddie Exile. Happy birthday. But please support our friends in future Atlanta Pro Wrestling and much, much more. But before we get out of here, you have any closing thoughts before September 7th, my friend?
I can't stop thinking about it now.
I know. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I wish I was out there in the ring. Actually, no, I really can't wrestle. But some guys might want me to see me get beat up.
We would love to have you accompany a show.
I think eventually I need to really get out to these backyard shows. I really need to.
Oh yes, you should.
I know. I don't know why. I've been invited to like 50 of them. The last 5 years, I've been invited all over the UK, Australia. I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually afraid to fly.
Really?
I flew about 20 years ago. My parents, we went on the one vacation to Florida. The plane wouldn't land for like 3.5 hours, and I won't fly since. I'm like terrified.
Okay.
There's a lot. I'm terrified to go outside now. Even case in point today. So I mean, I
Okay.
just
So I have a question for you.
ask me 100. You can ask me 100 of them.
If you, let's just say you did show up to an FAPW event and we had fans there and they wanted to be interviewed by you, would you interview them or would you let them interview you?
I'm not a wrestler. Obviously, I would just be too respectful for you guys and just want to watch the show and just thank you guys for all that you do. I wouldn't want to be in part of the. I would want to just watch you guys and just pay my respects and I would obviously want to make sure that let you guys talk to the fans and obviously but obviously
No,
look.
because you might have a lot of fans out there. You never know. They might want to ask you questions.
No, I don't know about that. I would say that I would obviously love to attend. I'd love to pay my respects for the wrestlers. We'll see. I think obviously, I don't think I would want to be in the show to that level, but I would love to obviously watch you guys compete. I do think that there is something to that. And you guys do so many great things out there. And I can't thank you guys enough for what you do for this sport, giving us the opportunity to cover you. I can't say enough what it means to see Sportswire really become the home of all wrestling matters, to be the home of the backyard, the underground especially. Yes, we have the UK guys come on still. We have the independent still, but to me, it's the backyard and the underground that's the backbone of our community. And definitely, it's something that I think anything's possible. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. Who knows? So never say never. But anything else you want to share with us before closing thoughts?
Subscribe, guys. Subscribe to Sportswire, and it's awesome.
They got me. It's about FAPW. You need FAPW. I got enough people sharing my Facebook stories, my Instagram, I'm gonna get to my support. It's really what I'm gonna take care of that for you guys right now because I do have a bunch of people still tuned in. So that's Instagram.
Right.
You'll see Instagram. Hit the Instagram button. Follow. And check it out. We got War Money Mafia, very well-known team, by the way. Very big shout out to them. Cliff. I'm going to get Cliff on here. We've got, obviously, franchise pieces, a big player, Jordan Chris, obviously, Andre Anamali, who is here. Just some big-time stars here. That this is where you're going to see a Summer Mania like no other. Summer doesn't end or even begin until Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling returns 2 weeks from today when it comes to Summer Mania, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. BYOB. Hit that Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling message, DM button, follow, and they'll give you the details. And it's free.
Yeah.
Free wrestling. Who can go wrong with that? Free wrestling, summer, beautiful day. You're not wanting to think about college football season. Maybe you're thinking Georgia's not going to win the national championship this year. You want to forget about the Falcons. Well, the Falcons are going to be okay this year. I think Kirk Cousins, his quarterback, is going to finally get it right for them. But the point is that you take a break from all that and just come on down and kick off or maybe end the summer with Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling.
It's going to be a big show, guys. Please tune in. Please subscribe.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it afterwards. I can't wait to talk about it. I want to thank Mr. Hardcore. I want to thank Andre Anamali. I'd like to thank you, obviously. I want to thank Cliff Balcom, Delborn, who's obviously been talking to me as well. I'm really excited to see Franchise Peace, War Money Mafia, Jordan Chris. I'm really looking forward to seeing really some of these outstanding superstars who put their blood, sweat, and tears out there to make it all wrestling matters. And my friend, I think we've got it all out there. You've got your final thoughts. I think you're pretty much going to do what you're going to do. And I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm looking forward to having you. Maybe you'll make some history. And either way, I know you're going to be back here on Sportswire Radio right afterwards to talk about it.
Yes. I appreciate you for having me on again, man. I got to prepare myself again, man. I just got to focus. I got to focus.
That's it.
2 weeks is on its way. I got to focus.
So that's actually less than 2 weeks now because technically it's 13 days. And because it's actually, so there you go. So we started from 2 weeks to less than 2 weeks. And it's going to go, it's going to blink of an eye. And we're going to be here talking about the show and talking about the things. And, it's all good. It's all good in a bag of chips, as downtown Julie Brown used to say. So
all good. But hey, we're ready for anything. And I guess I know those guys, they're preparing themselves as well. So we're gonna give you a show you won't forget.
I cannot wait. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I've literally been hanging on the last 20 minutes, even though my voice is like scratchy, but that's okay. Now, I do it every night at this point, and
Right,
I was
right.
like, I gotta be here. I gotta talk. I gotta, you know what? We were supposed to have a couple things in the works, but this was better because you definitely gave me the eye of the storm. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the heart of a warrior. Vega Storm could have his career flash before his eyes. Could he be the next future Atlanta Pro Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, or even be maybe the next future Atlanta Pro Wrestling bank or break the bank
Break the
briefcase here? Break the bank, because he doesn't want to certainly have his bank be broke. He wants to win that break the bank briefcase, or he could be the world champion, or maybe even win both. You'll have to find out all of it and some. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. If you're on Sportswire Radio, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you are on social media, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Please hit the sub button for Future Atlanta Pro Wrestling, also for us as well on Sportswire Radio. I'll be back here a few times this weekend. I would look forward to you joining me. I know people are going to be here at 10 o'clock Eastern Time for Jack Delta tomorrow. Jack Delta is a legend. He's a man Copper Dragon, is rated 7 stars. I know that's going to be big, but I also know I'm counting on you to say hello to us with Big Tex of DBW and also Napalm of Legendary Backyard Wrestling. But until then, my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. And until then, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to Vegas Storm. He has definitely got that heart of a warrior as we were in the ultimate storm tonight.